Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am your host, Christine Blosdale, and you, my friends, are in for a beautiful treat. One of the most amazing people on the planet, someone that I have known for several years, is joining me on Out of the Box with Christine. And this moment in time, you are going to remember this. My guest today is Kimberly Meredith, and she is an internationally renowned medical medium and healer who has helped thousands of people from around the world. And following two near-death experiences, Kimberly had found that she had some miraculous healing gifts to give the world. And she has right now, currently, she's hosting her own syndicated radio hit, The Medical Intuitive Miracle Show, which I remember you starting, Kimberly. And she's a frequent guest, of course, on numerous radio shows and podcasts. Her website is thehealingtrilogy.com. We'll make sure that we have a link in the show notes for you to visit that. But welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, Kimberly Meredith.
Thank you, Christine. And you're responsible for that show on radio.
Well, I remember when that opportunity came for you, and I think you were saying, I don't know, should I do it? Should I do it or should I not do it? And I'm like, do it.
Yeah, because of that show, someone heard me on air, and I was doing, I think, a reading for someone that had breast cancer, and that led me to having this book because I met my agent through that.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that's so exciting. Well, and you had mentioned your book, your brand new book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension: Discovering the Soul's Path to Healing. Let's talk about that, because that is something that is so beautiful. You have the hardcover, the book, you have the audio book. And I was saying before we got on air, I'm so happy that it's in your voice, because some publishers, I don't know, some publishers, they won't use the actual author's voice. And so it was beautiful to hear you tell your story in that audio book. And the sales are going great. The reviews are wonderful. How long has the book been out? Is it just recent?
Yeah, it's only been about 4 months, and first 2 weeks we went to best-selling. I was very honored that they wanted me to to narrate it, because I've never done that before, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and it took about 3 weeks. It's 6 hours, but people love it because I think they hear different voices coming through because it's pure channeled, and lots of energy of the divine feminine coming in. People are saying they feel that their body is being balanced because there's a lot of masculine and feminine energy happening. They get an activation going on. And so I wasn't aware that was going on. When the director was directing me, she heard the different voices coming through. So that's some of the feedback I'm getting. And I'm really glad that I stuck it out, because at some points during the recording, I was feeling like I didn't know I could keep going on.
Right. And we always kind of doubt. We're like, what does this sound like? I don't know if this sounds, but you know what? It makes a lot of sense. And just as you were saying that, I got full chills down my neck and my back and my arms. Like, of course, it's going to be, you're really going to feel it. And I know people, the reviews for the paperback, for the hardcover, for the book are wonderful as well. And people are getting amazing insights and results from the book. But hearing your voice and your energy through that, I think, yeah, I can't wait to experience the audiobook. So we'll put a link to that as well in the show notes for people.
Thank you.
So medical medium. When people hear that, they may not understand what that is. Do you want to just give our listeners and our viewers a little bit of an idea of the gifts that you do have, and some of the things that you've been able to do with your wonderful clients and people from all around the world? But talk about what a medical medium is.
Sure. A medical medium is what I do, how I see it is I'm a trance channel too. So I go very deep in, and even since I wrote the book, I have more downloads are happening and it's faster. So from when I started to write the book from a few years ago to now, I get more information, even more information faster than I did before. So in the book, people will read how I get information with blinking through my eyes. I'll hear like, oh, this person has a bad knee. They maybe have torn that knee like 8 years ago. And maybe they have acquired a brain tumor and they got the tumor 10 years ago. And then maybe they've got some gut issues. And then how they got the gut issues is their thyroid is off. So the thyroid is connected to like the throat chakra. So basically what a medical intuitive medium is somebody that not only can tell what's going on in the body, but how it happened, why it happened. So the root cause of how it is occurring in the body. So now since the book had come out to current, my mediumship also is developing where not only do the guides want to help you figure out why it happened, what's the cause of it happening, when it happened, and also what's going on with my mediumship is we want to help you move forward, and we like to heal you and help you understand how to be healed, but also understand that we're moving into an awakening and an ascension. That's where the fifth dimension comes in. And so medical mediumship is that particular category. So normally medical intuitives find out the root cause of what's going on. And then the next step is the energy of healing you. So the medical intuitive also is a package of how we can heal you through nutrition, supplements, and an organic learning and living. So it's a revolutionary way of healing you.
Oh, I love that. And you had mentioned the fifth dimension, and we're not talking about the band from the 70s. We're talking about the fifth dimension. And if you can you give people a little bit of an idea of what that is and how maybe we can learn to tap into that?
Yeah. And I think you make a good point about that, because I think like maybe that band even knew that there was maybe subconsciously going to be a fifth dimension, because it's very interesting because all the lyrics in that song really does define the Aquarian age. And that's what we're in right now. So like, I think it's like every 20 years we have like a shifting happen. And we are actually living in that shift, whether we wanted to have it happen or not. This third dimension, the greed, the fear, the worry, not accepting people that are different, not accepting this energy ascension, which is the guide saying it had to happen whether we wanted it or not, which is the fifth dimension. So if you look at me, which this just happened to me, which just was 2013 to now, which is not a very long time, I had this energy shift really fast.
Yeah.
And what's happening to us is we're going to have this energy shift super fast, whether we want it or not. You're seeing like in the last few years, this shift, and it's going to happen more and more fast for people. And people are going to be like, what? So the fifth dimension is fast. You heal fast, you love fast, you have unconditional healing, you have forgiveness. Everything is fast, simple, and the healing is miraculous. So the fifth dimension really is another word for source, God, love, miracles. And someone could say, well, is it a religion? No.
No.
It's a spirituality. And so it's so amazing, because to explain the fifth dimension, you could explain it very scientifically, or you could explain it like I am, very simple. And the simplicity of it is what I love, because it's so amazing when you like have a tumor on someone's neck and they say, well, you got to cut that out. And someone could say, well, I don't want to. I want to try to pray and take my two hands, which when you put them together doesn't cost a dime. And to say, I'm going to go in the fifth dimension doesn't cost anything either. And by doing that, I explained in the appendices all of these miracle healings that have happened by just putting your hands together and saying, I'm in the fifth dimension, and putting them on your neck with another person and praying. This miraculous energy comes in, which is the omnipresent, which is God. And it disappears and leaves because you're in the fifth dimension. Now, there's many dimensions that we can go in, but just getting in that dimension is where we want to start.
Oh, yes. and is because you've had a near-death experience, and I want to ask you a little bit about that. But I also I had a near-death experience, and in my near-death experience, what I had noticed, because I was given sort of a choice. But what I noticed was that I felt like I became one with everything, like the ocean, the birds, the rocks, the soil, like everything, people all around the world, everything. And it was the most beautiful feeling I've ever had. So it took the fear away from dying, right? But that I'm wondering if the fifth dimension, divine source, if that's what that feeling is, then we're in for some amazing stuff, because and I don't know if I can't explain it any better than just saying I just felt like I was connected and part of everything, and everything was part of me.
You are describing it perfectly.
Oh,
and
good.
when I first met you, I knew you were a fifth dimensional being, because you are that. You are fearless. You are loving. You are kind. And in that fifth dimensional realm, that's the energy. And we are human, of course, and so we can bounce back and forth. So many people say, what are the tools? How do I get in there? How do I stay there? And so that's what this book does. It gives you the tools to understand that when we're living in a society where it's very 3D right now, but in actuality, it's not. There are many things going on right now in our world that are shifting into the fifth dimension. And many people are hungry for that. Many people want the fifth dimension. They want it so bad. We are shifting in it, and it is happening right now. So many people are chanting, meditating, eating organically, getting shower filters, putting their filters on their sink, going, oh my God, Kimberly, I'm not drinking tap water anymore. I'm not drinking fluoride. I'm brushing my teeth with good toothpaste. All those things are 5D.
And also one thing that one thing that I've also noticed too is that yes, I don't watch television, and I rarely even listen to the radio unless I'm listening to, like, music or something. But the things that we see, the fear machine, right? Be afraid of this person, be afraid of these people, be afraid of COVID, be afraid of war. There's war and there's turmoil. So we're just seeing those things. But despite all of that, I've noticed that there's this overwhelming, like, people are waking up. And even the fear machine trying to fear, like, now talking about a Frankenstein type COVID thing. People have woken up and they're like, no, no, I have a lot more control over my body and my health and my mental health than people give me credit for. And then I'm saying that as in a general sense, right? People are waking up to that. And so it is quite an interesting time that we're living in, don't you think?
Absolutely. Of course, the reality is that we have to eat well, drink well, and spiritually and medically be aware of our home, how we live and how we eat. And I talk about that in the book, and I have all that. But spiritually, we need to boost our immune system, and also spiritually, emotionally boost our immune system by understanding that your brain can heal itself. This goes back to the days of Amy Simple McPherson and Catherine Kuhlman and Christ, and Christ consciousness is here right now. So my practice is affirmations and prayer and meditation, and not an hour a day, even 5 minutes a day, doing that. So I have clients, I have a clinic in LA, and I never shut it down once during the pandemic. I saw clients consistently, and doing the vitamins, doing the prayers and affirmations, doing the Young Living essential oils, thieves. What I'm saying is that no matter what you have, it could be COVID, immune suppressed condition, cancer. If you were to ask me, can anything and all of this be healed? Of course, my eyes are going to blink yes, because the power of prayer, persistent prayer, heals everything and all.
And you had mentioned too about the blinking, your blinking eyes, and I think I had read somewhere the code, it's like Morse code, right? Let's talk about, because I know you had a near-death experience, and this is really where your whole life changed in many ways. And I know people can also read about it in the book, the story of this, but just give our audience a little bit of an idea about that, and also where the blinking and had came. But I think you had a bit of the blinking when you were younger, correct?
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. I was born with gifts. I was born as a child with a paranormal understanding as a little girl. I know because I saw images. My eyes were doing what they're doing now, which is trancing, in and out, blinking. I had a very exceptional bonding with my grandma, who I dedicated the book to. She knew that I was recognizing spirits. As now, I do speak to the other side. I get messages from the dead. And there's nothing wrong with that, because when we cross over, we never die. We transcend. So back and forth. So she was loving, she was kind, she was cool with that energy that I had. My mother, however, and some other relatives in the family were not. So much so they were physically abusive to me as a child. I don't get into a lot of that in the book, but some of it I do, where I was physically reprimanded over and over again, and enough to where I kind of made a deal with God. At a young age, I talked to God, and I always say, be careful what you say to God, because God listens. God does listen. Be careful how that saying, be careful what you ask for, you may get it.
Exactly.
So I remember distinctly sitting on the bed one night as my mom and my stepdad consistently yelled at me to stop blinking and slapping me. And I then went to my bedroom and I talked to God and I said, I want to make them happy. So please leave, leave. And it left. God left me. And for most of my whole adulthood, I suffered severe depression and never quite could get things right in my life. Severely bullied at school, stuttered. I grew up in my mom had a lot of problems. She was a severe alcoholic, always dressed in pretty much bad clothes, very bad self-esteem. But I always kind of still went to the angels, and I went to Mother Mary. And then still, my mom died young. She had an overdose of alcoholism. And after that, I still searched out God. I said, I need God in my life. So I would go to church. I would go to temple. I would search that belonging, but nothing like this that's happened. Until 2012, I was struck by a car on foot. And after that experience, I feel that the person I was supposed to be from the beginning of my life, throughout my whole entire life, though, I will say, I always gave selflessly to other people, including my mom and other people that were, in bad shape. And after the NDEs, 2 of them, which were horrific NDEs, I had to have even a surgery on the back of my head. Because when I got hit by the car, I had a blunt head hematoma that was really, really bad. And my eyes awakened from the Holy Spirit. But after that happened, it didn't really dawn on me right away when my eyes started blinking. And when they started blinking, I was like, what is going on? And then a friend of mine who was a nurse, because I was in nursing, I was a nurse assistant half my whole life. She said, your eyes are blinking. And I said, they blinked when I was a baby. And that's when it all started.
Oh, I love that story. I do.
And then the blinking eyes, after they started coming back and blinking, it was so strong. People asked me, did you go to classes? Did you start having to go learn somewhere? How did you know what the blinking meant? Who taught you from the spirit guides how they were communicating? And Christine, it was so interesting from when they started to blink till I started to channel on people's bodies and learn the codes and all of that. The guides taught me everything through writing, through what meant yes, what meant no. They fully, as I said, yes, I'll receive it. They fully came in full circle to teach me the messages from the Holy Spirit to the communication of what they wanted to have happen.
And the rest, as they say, is history, because you've helped so many people where, and I know because I have watched, I've seen videos of people that have worked with you where Western medicine has basically told them, go home and die. We can't do anything else for you. There's nothing left. And yet they're today walking around happier and healthier than they've ever been. And this is because they also have been opened up to the 5th dimension as well.
Well, what happens is that I not only pre-detect things in people's bodies through the scanning, when I go through their bodies, I find things, but also the guides taught me how to be a healer. So I also learned how to do healing work on people. I've been tested at numerous institutes for my healing abilities. Um, and I think I always had healing abilities, even as a child. So that was something I was born with also.
And your grandmother also recognized that in you. I also have a very close connection to my grandmother, who's passed, but I feel her like a lot with me. And isn't it interesting? It's sometimes it's that next generation that sees that really sees you, that really gets you and sees you. Kimberly, in your book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, you give some real practical advice, some tips, some suggestions for people who want to raise their consciousness, raise their vibration and their energy so that they can heal and they can take what life is coming, what's going in this world, and not just survive it, but thrive. And so I wanted to know if you'd like to offer our listeners and viewers just some ideas, some things that they can do, simple things that they can do to improve their health and mental health and physical health. And I know one of them is you stress this, and I remember from my first meeting, the importance of clean, fresh water.
Yes. And actually drinking out of like a still grade container, and also like glass is better than plastic. We don't want to drink out of plastic because that's fossil fuel, and that raises our estrogen in our body. So we want to drink out of good, clean water. I also think mineral water is better than alkaline. I mean, some people do like alkaline water, but we need good minerals in our water. And also, we want to keep our stress levels down, because a lot of people right now, of course, everything is happening when we stress out, raises our cortisol, and that also throws off our hormones. There's a lot of clients that come into my office when I go over their body and scan them. The throat chakra, which is the thyroid, a lot of Hashimoto's going on and thyroid problems, is coming from back again to the water. So another tip is meditating every day, 5 minutes a day of meditation. And some people are like, well, I'm not a real meditator, so you could exercise. Some form of meditation is exercise. So taking a little walk around the park or a hike. And some people say, well, I'm just people give me little things like, well, I don't really like exercising that much. Well, sometimes people maybe like doing a little walk with putting on your headphones and listening to music. And to say you can't go out walking, you could maybe sit at home on a bike and put music on, or sit on a little flat mat and just do some breath work. And here's another thing. If you are home in bed and you can't even get outside at all and you're bedbound, there's something called an incentive spirometer that you can buy online. So I'm giving you everything possible to get your lungs going. An incentive spirometer, you can breathe, and that gets your lungs going. And if you can't do that, in my book, I have some exercises, just breath exercises, just to get your lungs going, to breathe, inhale and exhale through your nose like this, and hold on 4 and exhale. Just doing that 10 times a day, that raises your vibration and lowers your cortisol. Another really cool tip is seeking laughter, laughing, hanging out with a couple of friends or your loved one, your partner, and just laughing, turning off the television, turning everything out, zoning out, being with a loved one and laughing, just kicking back and laughing. This is really important. Really looking at your diet is important. I know people are like, well, is that really a tip? Yes. Really looking at your overall food, what you're doing with your food. And it's not like I have a lot of recipes in here and stuff like that, but more importantly, it's like not really like a strict, like if you're vegan, vegetarian, or a meat eater, that's all in here, but everybody has their own specific needs. But really looking at your fruits and the sugar intake in the fruit. So you want to make sure that your sugar is not too high in your fruit, because that's also going to throw off your hormones. The other thing that I want to make sure everybody remembers to do is make sure that you have a good filter in your home when you're breathing in the air in your house. A lot of times people have like an old air conditioner running or an old filter. So you want to make sure you're breathing in good air. And also for your shower, you've got a good shower filter going. You don't want to breathe in bad steam from tap water in your lungs.
Because in certain water systems too, they add, I know, well, there's like chlorine and fluoride. They add fluoride in the water supplies.
Yes, you're very correct. And that is very harmful. So I have a whole chapter in here about fluoride. And I also have a lot of tips about toothpaste. We don't want to have fluoride in our toothpaste. And also, I want to make sure people understand that when we talk about water, we want to make sure we're drinking a lot of water throughout the day, not just a few cups of water. So people go, I drink a lot of water. And I'm like, how much water? 3 glasses. I mean, that's not enough water. And also, here's another tip too. I want to just make sure everybody knows that journaling is amazing. A lot of people are all in their head. It's called stinking thinking. And they say to me, well, I'm working it all out in my head. And I think it's really important to know that it's really, really healthy to get it out on paper. I also have a mentorship program I'm doing right now with people because I feel like I was calling for me to say, well, I wrote the book. It's really great. I want to get it out there, but I also want to mentor people because a lot of people are making a lot of life changes right now. They've lost their job. They've lost their homes. They've lost their businesses and they don't know what to do, but they've got it all in their head. So if you get up during the night and you wake up at 4 a.m. and you're having that anxiety, don't panic, write it out, get it out, put it on a piece of paper. And sometimes people have a lot of goals, but they don't know what goal to do. So you can categorize those goals. So that's another tip. Put them all out on a piece of paper and then learn to categorize those goals. And another thing I want to just say, sometimes we're not getting enough sleep.
Oh, I know. I know I could use a little bit more sleep. But I think that's really when your body is doing a lot of the healing as well, right? When you're unconscious, the cells, all of your body is like, okay, great. She's checked out right now. Now we can do our thing, because when she's awake, she likes to, sometimes she talks bad about herself. Those thoughts, right? I've heard from friends too, when they say, oh, I'm so fat, or I'm so this or that. And I'm like, stop that. You're telling your body to be fat. You're creating that. So I know very much the things that we say to ourselves verbally, and also what we think when we look at ourselves in the mirror, are very powerful.
You are so on. That's the 3D thinking. That's the third dimensional thinking. And a lot of times, like me, someone that's been abused at a young age, when we're between 3 and I think 10 years old, when we've had a lot of abuse, we tend to think a lot of people are against us, or they're not for us, or not on our side. That can be reversed because the world is on our side. People are thinking good thoughts about us. They want the good for us. Many people that have had trauma often think the opposite. And that's not happening. When you start to shift into the 5th dimension, you start to think the opposite. You start to feel awesome and great, and the miracles start to happen, and abundance starts to flow. So when you start to have an attack like that, remember, it's not your consciousness, it's an outer consciousness. It's a replay of the childhood too. So you can start putting that on paper.
And that actually makes sense when the people that you are supposed to trust when you're a baby, and that's your immediate family, when they do horrific things or strange things, then I can understand, as you're growing up and as being an adult, not trusting.
Exactly.
And that's not trusting the world. So that's not trusting your partner or your spouse or life in general. You don't trust it. And so I love that piece of advice. I think that's really, really important. And it's not something that maybe is going to be necessarily easy for people,
right.
but when you think that the world is for you and not against you, then you're also going to be looking for those things, because we look for confirmation, right?
Amen. And so what I'm saying is that when you start getting this routine that people love you, you are light, you are love, you are joy, you are peace, you are in the fifth dimension, and you're attracting that, that starts to happen more and more for you. And this other energy is dismissed out of your life.
I think you having a mentoring program is brilliant.
Yeah, I just started and many people are joining and it's really cool.
So can we make sure I'll if you send me the link to it, I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, great.
So if people are interested in, because this is it's such an important time right now. And I try to remind the people that I'm surrounded with, I try to remind them that it is an amazing, beautiful time. Even though it may seem dark, there's a lot more light coming through than the darkness. And I think sometimes when the light really is, when all this love and light is coming to this planet and people are waking up, I think it's the last bastions, the last gasps of the darkness of the things control, fear. Oh, that's not working. Religion, look at dogma and religion. How many thousands of years it was used to control people. And now it's like, well, okay, spirituality, your connection to source and God, people are going that way instead of going through a priest or I don't know what the other ones are called. The idol, you can talk to God, but only through me, and only if you give me money or you confess.
Exactly. And in fact, we can all gain our own inner spiritual power and abundance, and through just doing it on our own and learning the tools. So it's an amazing time to be alive right now. And I feel like we're all here to help each other and to love our brothers and sisters. And I made my mentorship program very affordable. And it has, every time you meet with me, you have homework, pages to study. And I love seeing people move forward. And since I was guided by the guides, and all this is by the guides, just the way the book was written by the guides, I feel it's just a good, genuine program.
It's an extension of that.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. Well, I've known that since the moment I met you. You're in, because I was on radio for so long, right? And I didn't have, nobody could see me. So it was all based on my intention. Right. And people, I was hoping that people could feel my intention. And as soon as I met you, I could feel your intention. It is so pure and it is so profound. And so I'm so very honored and grateful to you that you came on the show today. And we're letting people know who are not familiar with you. We're letting them know a little bit more about Kimberly Meredith. And I'm going to encourage everyone, please check out her website. If you're interested in her mentorship program, any of the other programs that she has, it's the healingtrilogy.com. We'll have a link in the show notes, and get yourself a copy of the book, either the audio book, which I'm going to get from my wife. I'm going to get the audio book for us. Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, Discovering the Soul's Path to Healing. Thank you again, Kimberly. I love and adore you, and I'm so grateful to know you. You're in my family as well. So thank you again.
I love you so much, Christine. Thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody listening to the show today.
All right, love. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers, for tuning in today. Remember, if you want, you can easily share the show. If there's someone that you think would be moved by it, that would connect with it, share this. It doesn't do any good if nobody knows about it. Share it with others and spread the word about Kimberly Meredith and the beautiful work that she's doing. And if you want more information about this podcast, you can go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. If you want more information about me, go to christineblosdale.com. And until next time, as I always say, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.